Howdy friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I am on a fat bomb making roll and I want to tell you why. I take part in some business coaching, and one of the activities that they suggested I do was to set some impossible goals. So some goals that at the time when I claimed them as mine, they felt impossible. So one of the ones that I set was being able to do 20 push-ups, not on my knees. I'm working my way towards that. But another one that I'm setting for myself, and considering the time of year, this is challenging, is cutting out all refined sugar. And I kind of have a take on when you decide to set goals like this. I often, when I work with my clients one-on-one in clinic, we often talk a lot about this, how it is almost as easy to set yourself up for success as it is to set yourself up for failure. So what do I mean by that? I mean that I've set myself a goal to eliminate all refined sugar. I'm fine with fruit sugars, and I'm fine with small amounts of natural sugars like honey or maple syrup. That's the goal for myself. So any refined sugar would even be organic cane sugar. And friends, my husband is a public school teacher. I should take photos and share what he comes home with when he's off on winter break. And of course, the parents mean well and the kids mean well, but gosh, the chocolates and the cookies and the treats and what his family calls them, dainties. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys call them dainties? Like little squares and all that kind of stuff, right? It is overwhelming. And then we go to my family's house where there's tons and tons of treats and chocolates and truffles and all these things. And then we go to his house and there's even more. So here I am, I'm setting this goal. It's almost December. And the temptation is real. I like sugar. I like sweets. I tend towards sweets as opposed to salty. Let me know again in the comments. Are you a sweet or a salty person? If you're craving something, do you go for chips or popcorn or something like that? Or do you go for, something sweet? And so I have two choices here. I can set this goal and essentially ignore it until temptation hits, or I can set myself up for success. So essentially, if I'm going to conduct myself as a person who has already claimed that goal, I have cut out refined sugar, then I have to put some steps in place to ensure that when life gets stressful, because I've talked about this on the channel before, I am a recovering emotional eater. Let's just say I have moments where I slide back. There's so much emotion tied to food. There's so much, right? We share food when we're joyous and we're bringing family together. We share food when we're grieving. We share food when we're trying to create community. And so we reward ourselves with food. We do this with kids a lot. So there's a lot of emotional sort of ties and webs when it comes to food. And so what if life gets difficult? What if I have a stressful day? What if the holidays is just like beating me down? My go-to response, what I've programmed my brain to do over many decades, is have a snack, have a treat. Treat yourself, right? And so if I don't put some sort of steps in place, I'm going to fail. And so one of the ways that I am ensuring, or at least attempting to ensure success, is by I love fat bombs. If you're not familiar with fat bombs, let me know in the comments. I can send you, maybe I'll post some of the links to the ones I'm making today. I'm doing 3 different varieties, and they're essentially a take from the paleo keto world. And my family is mostly paleo-ish at this point. We don't eat a lot of grains anymore. We're trying to get to the bottom of some health stuff that we're navigating. And so we're removing certain foods, and I discovered fat bombs. And when I have a craving for something sweet, If I have one of those, the craving goes away. And I'm putting food into my body that is high in amino acids and like just really good bioavailable nutrients. Fat is an excellent fuel source. You know, the 1980s campaign of fat free did us no favors, friends. I can't remember who said it. Elliot Homestead. She said something years ago that has always stuck with me. Fear the fake, not the fat. And I agree. And so when I have one of those, it's better fuel for my body and it curbs that craving. I don't use any of those kind of replacement sugars that a lot of the recipes call for. So for example, I'm making, I think there's 15 or 16 like almond joy fat bombs. And there was a tablespoon of maple syrup between the 16 of them. Just enough sweetness, right? So I tend to use more natural and real sugars or whatever the erythritol and stevia and all of those things. I tend to stay away from those, but you do you. But if I have those in the house, then I'm more likely to reach for that than to set myself up for failure by not putting in place any steps to help me on my journey and the thing that I'm trying to claim for health. So here's my question for you. What is it that you're trying to claim? Maybe it's a fitness goal. Maybe it's a new way to move, a new way to eat. Maybe it's introducing meditation. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's reducing stress. I don't know. Whatever your goal is, that impossible goal, I'm asking you, what are you going to do to set yourself up for success? What are the steps that you can put in place so that when you have a craving, when you have a temptation, maybe you're trying to quit smoking, maybe you're trying to cut out coffee, I don't know, maybe you're trying to quit drinking. What are the things that you're going to do so that when you have that craving, when you have that moment, that very real tangible human moment, that you've got some type of plan and support system in place to help prevent you from having a backslide? Because the fastest way to go back to old habits and set yourself up for failure is to set a goal and then do absolutely nothing to reach it. Fat bombs are done. They are setting in either the fridge or the freezer. I said I did 3 different kinds, including one that I think my son's really going to like. And it's basically just blended up frozen fruit and coconut oil. And then I added a tiny bit of lemon honey that we had from a local beekeeper. And it really added a nice flavor to it. But I wanted to mention that I completely respect and understand that what I am saying is easier said than done. So I really want to drive that point home, that this is not necessarily easy. When we want to make choices, different choices and changes, there's going to be a lot of barriers along the way. This might sound a little too metaphysical for some of you, but I talk about this in my membership platform with my students about how when we decide to do something that potentially goes against the grain, knowing how to be really solid in who you are, what your goals are, sovereign, in your own energy field goes a long way. So yes, that is one way you can set yourself up for success. Because if you think peer pressure among adults doesn't exist, you're kidding yourself. My husband has experienced it firsthand by going to social events where he has declined to drink alcohol. And people can be people. Let's just say that. And so I recognize there are more layers and nuances to this, but it was just enough of a conversation to get you wondering, what can I do? I want to make these shifts. I want to make these changes. I have these goals. What are some little micro steps that I can do to set myself up for success? Maybe it's making fat bombs like I did today. Maybe it's calling in some team members. Maybe you need to work with a business coach, a personal trainer, a health practitioner, because you want some accountability. I don't know what that looks like for you, but I'm encouraging you to ask the question, to dig a little deeper and find out what you need to support yourself and whatever those goals may be. Now, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, please leave those below. If you like my content and the things that I chat about, I always appreciate a subscribe to the channel. And until next time, this is Corinne from Spiraea Herbs, wishing you health and wellness.